Hey everybody, Carol Mahoney here. Just came off of our weekly live sales lab. And we were actually talking about ghosting, or when's the best time to break up with someone as a prospect, and how do you do that? And this is the analogy that's been left with me, is dating, because throughout the conversation that I was having with people, and we were talking about why is it that ghosting bothers us so much. It's the rejection, it's that they didn't reply back to us, or it's the idea in fact that we now actually have to go out and find other people to talk to, which means more rejection. And so how do we overcome some of these hang-ups about prospecting? And why is prospecting so important when we're thinking about our pipeline? So first, when we talked about prospecting, everyone was asking the question of what's the cadence? How soon do I follow up with leads? And how do I do it? Is it going to be by email or is it going to be by phone? And the answer that I gave them is really going to depend on who your buyer is. And at the end of the day, prospecting is really like this grand experiment where you're trying to figure out what time is it they're likely to answer the phone, which messages are going to be most relevant to them. I even had people go around and tell me, all right, every one of us has ghosted salespeople before. It's kind of like we're still gonna get into heaven if we ignore them or if we lie to them, because it's salespeople. So when I went around and asked everyone, well, why is it when you ghost salespeople, why do you do it? And it's because, well, I'm not interested. I don't have budget right now. There isn't anything that's going on, or I just don't find what they're saying all that interesting. And then when I asked them in the reverse of those salespeople that you have replied to, why is that? And it's because the timing was right, or it was because they had a relationship with that particular salesperson and knew someone in common. And so I said, all right, let's apply these concepts to how you're doing your prospecting. Examine the messages that you're sending out. Are you talking all about the latest discount you're going to give them, or are you talking about things that they actually care about? And then experiment with the messages and the times. Like if you're giving up after the second try, have you really tried? All right, so then the last thing that we were talking about, which is why is it that when this ghosting thing happens, it bothers us so much? And a lot of times it's because we don't have a whole lot of things going on. So if your pipeline is really skinny or stagnant, meaning stuff hasn't happened or moved in it a while, it's time to get it out of there. And that's going to push you towards getting that daily discipline of prospecting going. And as every one of us has done, we kind of start and then we stop. So how do you start a habit that you want to do more consistently? So I suggest take baby steps. Start with committing to making one prospecting call every day. And if you can do one, then the next week after that, you can do two. And eventually the habit has formed and the discipline is cemented. And suddenly your perspective on your pipeline changes because you're not so desperate for that person to call you back. So stay tuned next week's Live Sales Lab. We actually had someone send in a scenario to us. Thank you, Tavon. And we're going to talk about that one next week. And it's going to be about handling objections. How do you handle them? How do you even perceive them as something kind of like an opportunity? So stay tuned next week. It's going to be the day before the 4th. So if you show up, you're going to get all kinds of great stuff. Talk to you then.